Please introduce yourself for the court.
My name is devaney, and I'm the chemistry teacher at Truman High School, as well as the school basketball coach.
How long have you been a teacher at Truman High?
Since 1985.
Where did you attend college?
I received my bachelor's in science and chemistry from Washington University in St. Louis. Later, I obtained my teaching certification and degree in secondary education. I also received my degree in master's degree in education from the University of Missouri.
What was your job before you were a teacher?
I was a forensics chemist for the Missouri State Patrol Criminalistics Laboratory.
And what did you do there?
I ran lab tests of suspected controlled substances.
Were you trained to work at this job?
Yes, I received training, and also the training I received in college helped prepare me for the job.
How long did you work as a forensic chemist?
Well, from after I graduated from WashU up until I started working at Truman High.
And what kind of knowledge did you learn as a forensic chemist?
I learned a few things about the effects of controlled substances.
All right, so tell me how you're involved in today's case.
Well, I'm both Taylor Jennings and Chris Hall's chemistry teacher, and I used to be Chris Hall's basketball coach.
How was Taylor Jennings as a student?
He was an excellent student with a solid A+ average, but at the same time, he seemed to be a trifle ambitious.
How was Chris Hall as a student?
He was also an excellent student with a solid A+ average.
You mentioned you were Chris Hall's basketball coach. How was he as a part of the team?
He was starting point guard for the team, and he led the team in many assists and steals. He had a gift for managing the floor. He showed maturity and leadership to even the youngest players on the team. I'm proud to say he was a viable NCAA Division I college athletic scholarship prospect.
What happened with Chris Hall?
I found out he was arrested for possessing methamphetamine.
As a former forensic chemist, you know some of the effects of methamphetamine.
Yes, I do.
Would you list some of them?
Well, there's increased alertness, increased energy, nervousness, irritability, paranoia, etc.
Which one of these effects did you notice in Chris Hall?
I never saw Chris act as if he were under the influence of anything. Honestly, he was always too busy studying, practicing, and so on.
Did you hear Officer Pat Down testify that 0.15 grams of meth were found today?
Yes, I did.
And as a former forensic chemist, can you describe how much that would be?
That would be less than a few grains of iodized salt or granulated sugar.
All right, so tell me what happened in class on February 28th of 2011.
That day we were doing a cloning experiment and it required all students to be up and away from their desks.
Who was in class that day?
Both Taylor Jennings and Chris Hall were in class that day and both turned in top-notch lab reports.
Was there anything suspicious between the two of them?
I didn't notice either student act odd or out of sorts.
Were you interviewed on this day?
No, and I found that to be pretty strange considering I had both of them in class that day.
Were you bothered by anything else that happened that day?
Yes, one other thing bothers me. I was outside of my classroom monitoring the hall, and I overheard a friend of Jennings ask, "What's up?" And I distinctly remember hearing Jennings reply, "It's in the bag." It just seemed odd in light of what happened that day.
Why did you think this was odd?
Well, it just seemed odd because I remember that day Chris was arrested for having substances in a bag inside of his backpack. And Jennings made a statement, "It's in the bag," and was the one who reported the incident.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
Your Honor, may I respond? Today in court, Taylor Jennings testified that he said it was in the bag. And so...
He's admitted, Your Honor, that without someone running against him, he would inevitably win. However, at this point, I don't believe it's appropriate for us to go ahead and put him, to include statements in the court that are going to put one of our witnesses in a certain character light.
May I respond? Yeah. But it's also not going to prove the truth of the matter. It's just the events that Ms. devaney witnessed that day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Did you think anything was different about that day that happened?
Nothing seemed different that day.
So everything in class was all right?
Yes, everything was all right.
No further questions.